What's up, guys? So I did a video, it's probably been about a year ago, talking about some different thoughts on bugging out. And my good friend JC Dodge at Mason Dixon Tactical has done a few blog posts on his blog about the topic. He's got a recent one that he just put up that I shared on my blog, which, speaking of which, I've got a new blog up, had it up for a little while now, trying it out, seeing how I like it, whatnot. I'll put a link down in the description, and if you're interested, go follow it. But I shared his post over on my blog. And basically the topic of this particular one is bugging out. Now, my previous video that I did, I talked about and mentioned in it how that I really am afraid that too many people have got the wrong idea about bugging out if something happens. Guys have got their bug out bags together, and balloon goes up, whatever happens, they're bugging out. But more often than not, I get the feeling from watching other people's videos, reading other people's posts, that first off, they don't even have anywhere to go to. If they do, they're not talking about it. Secondly, what many people pass off as a bug out bag is really nothing more than a bare minimum get home bag, okay? I wonder if folks have really thought through what bugging out is going to be. I'll go ahead and apologize ahead of time if I keep looking around. We've got some really bad, nasty weather on the way, and it's moving in pretty quick, so I'm trying to get this done before it gets here, but I don't want to rush through the video and overlook anything. So I keep looking over my shoulder, that's why. So let me just put this in context for you. Bugging out, throwing on your backpack, and you've got everything in it that's going to sustain you for however long you need. I want you to really think this through, guys. I'll give you an example. We recently, my family and my best friend's family, we had a little weekend. We went to our bug out location. Now, our bug out location is a very large piece of property that I've got family that owns, and not only owns it, but lives on it. It's their homestead. So, with that in mind, for the 2.5 days and 2 nights that we were there, just for the bare necessities, and I'm not talking being overly comfortable, just the bare necessities, the back of my truck was about 85% full. Now, I could have fit a little bit more in there, but it was packed, okay? That was just the stuff for me and my wife and the kids, my sons, and we already had stuff there that we didn't have to take. So we didn't have to take, we took some food but not a lot. The amount of food we took probably wouldn't have lasted us more than about a day and a half at the most. Again, because we already had food there. We didn't take creature comforts like our cots and all this other stuff. It was just our tents, sleeping bags, some sleeping mats, change of clothes, that sort of thing. just the bare stuff to get by for us, I was filling up the back of the truck. Same with my buddy, filling up his vehicle. If we would have had to really pack food and other stuff, it's going to be a lot. We darn sure couldn't fit it all in individual backpacks. And again, we're talking about bugging out for a long-term situation here. And if it's bad enough that you've got to pack your bag or take your already packed bag and go, that by nature indicates that it's going to be an indefinite amount of time, right? You're not going to be able to stay in a tent with a pad on the ground for an indefinite amount of time, okay? Physically and psychologically, eventually, you're going to start having problems. Be different for everybody, depending on stuff you've got, physical shape, mental shape, all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot to actually bugging out, which is why it's always best to have a place to go to where you already have stuff at and have infrastructure at. Just food alone, okay? Think realistically on bugging out. Trying to survive and live off of what you can fit in a backpack, even a big, huge one, that's going to be really sketchy at best for anything more than maybe a week or so. Because again, we're not talking about going on a hike on the Appalachian Trail or something. You're talking about going with the thought of there's no help to come get you if something happens. There's no running from the campground up to the Minute Mart to get stuff that you forgot or run out of. There's no getting new stuff. You're gone. You're leaving and going, and that's it. So whatever you've got with you, it's going to be really difficult and really uncomfortable if we can use vehicles to take everything in that we need to take for a very short amount of time, much less an extended period of time. One of the things in JC's post was look really hard at getting yourself set up to bug in first. Now, I know for a lot of people that just ain't gonna work due to where you're at. Maybe you're in a high-rise apartment in the middle of a big city or something. I get that, and there's going to be exceptions to, to the situation. But generally speaking here, especially if you live in a house, in a neighborhood or something like that, before you start looking overly hard at bugging out, get yourself squared away to be able to bug in. Make sure you've got food, water, ways to make power, solar panels, generators, all that kind of stuff. Think of ways you can secure your house in a true, bad situation, extended time period, like more than just a couple of days. Then once you've kind of get comfortable with that, then start looking at bugging out. But when you do, keep in mind, you need to have a place to go to. You need to find somebody that has got more than throwing up a tent in the middle of the forest somewhere, because there's going to be a whole lot of other people that try the same thing, and it's going to cause there's going to be a whole lot of problems, okay? So the gist of what I'm getting at here in relation to the post that JC made and the previous video that I did is that for my truck, me to have this just about filled up just for a few days, a long weekend for me and my wife and sons, and us to be, you know, what we consider bare bones, like I said, tents and sleeping bags. It's going to take a lot. Really think about that backpack. Especially you guys that have got the little 3-day packs you're going to bug out with. And even still the guys that have got the big giant packs. Let me just branch off into this for a minute. I know this is going to get kind of long, but I feel like it needs to be thrown out there. You're going to be burning a ton of calories if you're having to walk on foot, okay? Especially carrying a big heavy pack. That's going to require a lot of food. Unless you know you can get to where you've got to go within about 2 days walk, I think you're going to be hard pressed to really carry enough food long term, taking into consideration everything else that you're going to need to have with you. To tie into that, I see guys talking about all this different stuff to shave weight, you know, making everything as light as possible, because ounces is pounds and pounds is pain. Yes, in a military context, that's true. On a recreational hike, that's true. In a survival situation, throw it out the window, in my opinion. All that lightweight stuff is going to fail you fairly quickly when it's everyday hard use extended time stuff. Again, you go out hiking on the Appalachian Trail, and I use that just because it's a known entity, and you're out for a couple of days and some of your gear fails, well, pack up and go home. You get home, jump on the internet, boom, you've ordered a replacement. That's a totally different world than what we're talking about with a true, you know, raw situation long term where things have gone really bad. You're going to need strong gear that's going to last. Unfortunately, that's going to be heavy. You're going to need a lot of food. It's going to be heavy. You're going to need a lot of water and a lot of way to keep getting water. It's going to be heavy. You need to have things that are going to protect you long term from the elements, from threats, etc. You're going to have some kind of long-term comfort, believe me. You start trying to sleep on the ground under a tarp, that's great for about the first week. But then when you're getting ate up by bugs, when your joints and muscles all start really bad aching because they're not sleeping right, not able to get comfortable on that hard ground, etc., that will physically start causing you problems and then mentally start causing you problems. So separate recreational stuff from, you know, true worst case scenario stuff. Good stuff's going to be heavy. Now, doesn't mean you intentionally buy the most, you know, heavy thing you can. Be smart about it, guys. But throw out that whole, you know, got to go ultralight, you know, mindset, because this isn't a recreational hike. Okay, it's not what we're talking about. Again, I filled up the back of my truck just for the weekend, and we didn't take a whole lot of comfortable, quote-unquote, stuff. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. Read the blog post, you know, feel free to comment, see what you think. And I'm going to put a link to the blog, to my blog page. I've got other blogs posts like the one I'm talking about that I've shared. You just have to scroll through and find it. It's one of the most recent ones. So anyway, food for thought, guys. Think about this stuff and think about it objectively, okay, and honestly, all right? Take care, and we will talk to you again in the next one soon.